Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Satish. In this video, we'll look at how our life has been since we moved back to India, and how things have turned out across various aspects of our life. So that's what we'll look at in this video. I mean, today I'm shooting this video. We came to village for our festival, Sankranti. So I'm shooting this video in our, in-laws farm. So it's been a fantastic area if you look around, right? It's a green farm, right? So coming back to the topic, right? So fundamentally, I look at our life in 10 dimensions, right? So the first one is family, friends, and in-laws, and all of that, right? And the second aspect is around friends. Third is how the city life has been, the pollution, traffic aspects, and the fourth one is people following rules. I mean, this is, you might have been used to rules. So in outside of India, so how that has turned out. General etiquette when you take the lifts, holding the doors, and things like that, and the convenience of commerce, basically how fast you can get things. The seventh one is how kids have adjusted. The eighth one is time for yourself. This is an important part, and time for your spouse and all of that, right? And ninth one is about regular travel, right? Weekend trips, day trips, or travel with others, right? And the 10th one is infrastructure, malls, and typical shopping, how these things are, right? So these are the 10 dimensions that I see our life has turned out, and how we look at each of them, right? The first one is family, parents, and in-laws, right? So we live in Bangalore, so our in-laws and are about 4 hours away from us, 4 to 4.5 hours away. So we kind of see them every 15 days or at least once in a month. It could be an event, or it could be they visiting us, or we going and meeting them, right? And in terms of my parents, they stay with us for the most part, they, unless there is some work. So I see them pretty much every day, and I get to spend some quality time with them. So same case with my wife as well, right? Whenever we come to the village, she gets to see her in-laws, family, and all of that. So in terms of family, it really turned out well. So we're able to meet family more and more often than we anticipated. So it's been very, very good in terms of spending time with family, visiting them, seeing them now and then, events and all, right? So the second one is friends, right? So if you see, I spent a good amount of my time in the last 15 to 20 years, more or less, in the US, Singapore, and traveling other countries. So in that aspect, I've built a lot of friends outside of India than in India, to be realistic, right? So what has happened, it's been a little challenge for us. So we were not able to get as many friends as we would like to, but we are trying to rekindle friendships with my old friends who've been part of my school, been part of my college, and trying to meet them, and trying to build the relationship again, right? So this is not has been easy for us. So this has been a difficult lesson for us, or a journey for us, right? So again, we are trying to cope with situations. So we still keep in touch with our friends abroad, be it US or Singapore, and when they come to visit us, so we travel and all of that, right? So this part of things has been slightly off, but we kind of manage with that, right? So I reconnected with a school friend of mine, and they've been good family friends with us, so we go and meet with them and all of that, right? So the third important aspect is the city life, right? I mean, we live in Bangalore. Bangalore is one of the most I would say that city with one of the most traffic and population, all of that, right? So traffic is one of the worst thing in the world. It is probably rated one in the top 5 in terms of worst traffic, right? I've traveled to Jakarta, I've been to Thailand, Philippines, and all of these countries, right? So the traffic there is not is comparable to Bangalore, or even worse than, right? So I would say traffic has been pretty bad. The second one is pollution is also pretty bad. You are really like in there's a lot of dust and all of that when you go out. Again, this part of life, right? This is what we choose to compromise on when we relocated to India. If you are thinking about moving to India, I want clean air, you may not get all of this if you're living in a city. So you need to really basically stay in the countryside, like where I'm right now, to be able to get all of those parts. If not, it's going to be slightly challenging for you on that front, right? So in terms of commute to work and all, I mean, if you highly suggest you should stay close to work. So for me, my work, or the place I work, or a co-working space that I work with, it's about 5-minute walk. So literally flow to is about 10 minutes. So in that way, I've been very lucky. Where not many of them get these opportunities. So this could be a tricky one. So you need to really find a place where it's close to your school, kids' schools, or to the office, so that this could be a good balance for you, right? So that's in terms of number 3, city life, right? Now looking at the people following rules, so this is something, if you live abroad, you take it for granted that people stand in lines, people follow traffic rules, and a lot of things. Wherever you go for work, people try to follow rules as much as they can, right? To the most part, I mean, may not be perfect, but good 80 to 90% of the times. But here it's actually not the same, right? So again, we knew this, but this is something, it takes a time to adjust for you when you come and live in a country that is you've been lost touch with for some time. So you may not find people following rules, be it in traffic or be it in places where where they expect people to follow rules. This is something that could be challenging, right? There could be challenges for you to get some things done in government offices. So this is something, you have to adapt. So that's how I see it, and that's fine. I guess we all adapt, right? We used to live here, so we kind of managed to do that, right? So that's in terms of following. So the other part is people etiquette, right? Generally, you might be used to people holding doors, greeting in lifts and all of that. So there is general etiquette that you might have been used to in countries like the US or Singapore or other parts of the world, which you may not see as often as you would expect in India. Again, it's changing. People, I see a lot of people saying thank you, sorries, and all of that in our apartments and in many of the malls and wherever I go. But you may not expect that in all the places. So general etiquette has been slightly expected as expected, but it's improving. I do say positive side, right? So a lot of people following and doing that. So I really happy about that part. It's better than expected, right? So in terms of convenience right now, so I'll tell an important or a funny or an interesting thing, right? So one day we started to have a lunch, and then I started eating rice and sambar, and then usually eat rasam and then curd. So it takes about 10 minutes for me. So we didn't had curd that day, right? And that day it happened that I was like, okay, let's give it a try, right? So I just ordered something on I think I recall Zepto or Swiggy, one of these that's 10-minute delivery, right? So by the time I finished my sambar and I went to eat curd rice or yogurt rice, I really had the curd delivered to me within 10 minutes. This is like unbelievable, right? I mean, it's this is almost next to impossible in any developed economy. You can't get anything in like 6 to 7 minutes or 10 minutes. It's almost impossible. So in terms of convenience, right? It's like anytime you want it, you get it. That's how consumers have been treated, or that's how the kind of competition that is in India, and you're able to get that kind of service here for a very minimal fee, or probably less fee, right? So this is unbeatable, frankly. So that is, I would say, the most one of the most convenient aspects. So nowadays, we don't really create a big list, and also every day, we just look at what we want to order and we order it. So that's how convenient it has been. So it's been unbelievable on that aspect. So again, in terms of convenience, right? Again, here you also get help. So we have somebody who to help clean the car. We have somebody to come in to help with the home. Basically, the access to maid, the access to people to help you out with various things at home are really like unbelievable, right? Like of course, in countries like Singapore, you can have an in-house maid. It can be expensive in Europe and the US. But in general, right? I mean, this convenience of having somebody at home to help you out with daily chores has been incredible, right? And my wife really appreciates all of these parts, right? So this is and also this is I think I would say the nicer aspects of being in India, right? Next, kids adjusting, right? The seventh one is have my kids adjusted? I would say for the most part, good 80 to 90% they adjusted. Now and then they keep asking, oh, we used to like this, we had this, we don't have this, and all of that. But in general, because the kind of things you get here are pretty much as you get in other countries. The brands you get, the kind of stuff you get go in malls, and all of that are next to nothing. You get almost everything. In fact, sometimes even more than what you get in the other parts of the world, right? So that has been a real good thing for us. My kids have adjusted well. Other than they haven't got as many friends as I would like them to have, other than school friends. So that's one gap. But again, they have friends, they have family, so which is actually offsetting that gap. So they're kind of adjusting well. So I would say that has been a good journey for us, right? And the eighth one is time for yourself and your spouse, right? So this has been a real challenge for us. The reason I say that is, when you are in a foreign country, you're by yourself or you're spending time with yourself. There is a lot of time for yourself, right? And with your spouse and kids. But here what happens is there are other parts of life that takes over. These are because you have a large circle of friends and family here. We get invited to a lot of events, birthday parties and all of that. So almost if not every weekend, pretty much 3 weeks in a month we are in some event or some kind of an activity. So the time for ourselves has really reduced. We used to watch like 4 to 5 movies, me and my wife, watching a show together. But since we moved back, it's been very very hard. I'll tell you this honestly. We don't have a personal time for ourselves, but we're trying hard, to make our time whenever we get an opportunity. But that's something we have to balance. Again, we also have been, I would say, more I would say excited about things. We are in India, so we've been traveling to every single thing when somebody invite. So this is something we need to balance. But that's one challenge we have seen. But yeah, we're trying to find balance there. So this is something you have to manage, right? So the other aspect is the ninth one, right? Usually when you're in US or any of the foreign countries, right, you're used to going on weekend trips, day trips, these sorts of things, right? So this has been also very good for us. Frankly, we bought a car that is seats all of us. It's pretty good to drive. So that actually fits the entire family. So I've been able to drive to few day trips here and there. We drew to some longer drives as well. The infrastructure is pretty good if you are doing long drives. So that has been good. So we were able to drive to Goa, we've been able to drive to villages and all of these things, right? So some local places. So that has been good. And also traveling with cousins and all of that, going to outstation trips has been good. So I would say there is opportunity due to the constraint of time and our family commitments. Sometimes we're not able to do this as much as we would like to, but this is not bad, I would say. Not as much as we would do in the US or in Singapore or other parts of the world, but definitely not bad, I would say, getting there. So the last part is malls, shopping, nightlife, restaurants and all of these, right? So this is really like I would say my expectations have been really met or actually exceeded, right? The kind of things you get here, name it, all the brands, name it the activities you get in malls, name it the kind of shopping you can do, or name it the kind of restaurants, the fine dining places you get, or the kind of things you get to do, the kind of pubs you have access to. So all of this has really transformed in the last 5 to 10 years. I mean, when I left in the last 5 to 10 years, it was okay, but now the access to that has changed. There are really far superior restaurants, pubs and all of that. So I guess you won't really miss out on that, provided you're willing to spend a little bit of money here. It can be expensive, but again, if you want it, you have the ability to get them. So that's the good part with that, right? So we don't really miss on this aspect. So again I didn't get to cover the entire aspect of it, right? But if you look at it, right, so it's been across the 10 dimensions, right? Family, friends, city life, following rules, all of these, right? I mean, I'll just summarize all of them. I don't have to summarize, I would say. I'll just put this on the screen. You can look at them, right? So it's been I would say a good 70-80% we've been very happy with our move. There are definitely some areas that we are we would like it to be better, but again, that's life, right? You can't get everything, right? So look at the positive side of things and then live with it, right? And the good part with moving to India is we knew all these things, or we expected to have these things. We've been coming here. So when you expect and you move, so you don't get quite disappointed with all of these things. So I hear some of the people who move, complaining about the dust, complaining of mosquito. Could be any silly things, right? But the fact is, overall, if you choose the right place to stay, if you choose the right environment to stay, and right location, and be across all of these, you can really make it work, and you can actually feel much better in India, right, when you relocate. So that's one of the things I think we really like about it, right? I mean, just to give a perspective, we live in a place that has swimming pools, that has tennis courts, that has shuttle courts, that is indoor bowling alley, so that has basketball courts, so that has a cricket net. So it's about a very large property that is about 1,500 flats in it. So we choose that consciously because we wanted all of these. So access to all of these really changes the game for you as well as your family, because you don't really miss out on anything. So I guess where you choose and where you choose to live and all these will really matter, and your life here. So hopefully that was insightful, everybody. So think through all these aspects before you make a move, and prioritize which is important for you if you really want to move. If do not be disappointed thinking that okay, I am not happy here and all. There will never be a perfect place, right? So that's how it is, right? Again, thank you for watching. Do subscribe for getting regular updates. I do tend to continue and post these videos regularly, hopefully 2 in a week or at least 1 in a week. Yeah, thank you for watching, and do subscribe.